Hello, my name's Steven, and in this video I'll be discussing tape sampling using the Surface or Combo Moldlab Pro Kit. To begin with, you'll need to choose where you'd like to sample. Tape samples will only tell you if mold is present in the exact location that you test. They're a spot test. They can't tell you if there's mold right next to the place that you sampled, so it's important to pick a good spot. Fortunately, it's quite straightforward to choose the correct location when taking surface samples. Test in places that show visible signs of water damage, or where there is a visible stain, discoloration, or otherwise suspicious substance. If you don't see anything suspicious, it's very unlikely that your sample will come back with a positive result. You can also take surface samples from accumulated dust, but these samples may not be very helpful. Mold is a normal part of our air and makeup, so it is normal for some mold spores to settle out of the air and into dust. Results from this kind of sample are notoriously difficult to interpret and often lead to your customers being more confused than if you simply hadn't sampled at all. In circumstances where you don't see any visible signs of mold, surface sampling is usually not the best way to determine if there's a mold problem. Instead, consider using an air sample. You can learn more about air sampling in this video here. When taking multiple surface samples, it's a good idea to take samples from each different color of potential mold growth you see, and for each different surface that may have potential mold growth. For example, sample both the baseboard of a wall with discoloration and the discoloration on the drywall itself. These different areas are likely to be different from each other, either in the type of mold that's present or because one of them doesn't have mold at all. Additionally, take samples in suspicious areas that are far away from each other. For example, in different rooms of the house. If you're in an unusual circumstance and you still can't decide where you should take your surface samples, you can give us a call and we'll be happy to give you some advice. Bear in mind that we aren't mold inspectors here, so we'll only be able to give you the perspective of a laboratory in terms of where you should be testing. Also, keep in mind that helping you decide where to take samples will count towards your 10-minute phone consultation per kit. Now you can start taking your samples. Begin by opening the plastic container that encloses the tape slide. Then, use a pen or marker to indicate a number on the tape slide, matching one of the numbers from the test kit form. Write a description of the location you'll be sampling from on the test kit form on the corresponding numbers line. This will allow us to match up the correct sample to the correct location when we receive your samples in the lab. Next, peel back the thin plastic seal that covers the adhesive on the slide. This will expose the adhesive so you can take your sample. While holding the paper side of the slide, gently press the adhesive against the suspicious location, then peel it up. Do not press down too hard because some non-mold materials, such as paint, may come up with the tape, making your sample more difficult to analyze. Take a look at the adhesive part of the slide. There should be a visible amount of material that is transferred to it. There doesn't need to be very much, but you should be able to see where some of your suspicious substance has become stuck to the slide. If you can't see anything, try repeating the previous step. Once done, return the slide to its plastic holder. Close the holder and press down firmly until you hear 4 clicks. Be careful, if the holder is not completely closed, the tape slide may fall out. Now you can place your sample in the return mailer and repeat the process for each tape sample. Let's briefly take a look at an example tape report. The first page of this report displays the test kit form you sent us, as well as some information about the lab and test methods. The second page is where the results begin. Each sample appears with the number and location provided on the test kit form. Beneath this, each mold type detected is listed. Each mold type also receives a rating of minor, moderate, or heavy. This indicates the amount of mold identified on the sample. If no mold was found on a sample, no mold detected will be listed for the sample. Heavy ratings are commonly found when samples are taken directly from a fungal growth site. Conversely, minor ratings can commonly be found even in a dust sample and may or may not indicate a location that has mold growth. It is important to take into account the conditions of the area when interpreting your results and drawing conclusions from them. You can read more about the technical requirements used to group a mold type into one of these categories in the report's fine print. You can also find more about it in the next section, the FAQ. This section is provided to help you understand some common concerns brought up by previous customers. There is also an FAQ for the test kit overall, available below this video. The final section of the report is the glossary, which lists each identified mold type from the report and provides some information about it. Classifications, health effects, appearance, and environment are discussed for most mold types, along with example images of the mold under the microscope where available. This information can be used as a guide to help you identify the extent and severity of the mold issue. However, any health concerns should always be discussed with a physician. The health effects of mold are not well understood, and the science on these is constantly evolving. Additionally, we are not a medical laboratory, and we do not have physicians on staff. Once you've received your report and looked it over, you're welcome to give us a call with any questions you may have. Again, remember that you're limited to 10 minutes of phone consultation per kit, so it's a good idea to review the report thoroughly before you call us. If you need other information about the kit, check the other videos and instructions on this page. If you're still unsure, give us a call. We'll be happy to help any way we can.